All right, so you want to dive into this whole can you play competitive volleyball and stay on a team with your friends thing?
Yeah, it's a question we get a lot. It's a classic dilemma for young athletes.
I bet it holds a lot of people back.
Absolutely. And I think what's cool is we've got a really interesting mix of sources for this deep dive.
Yeah, we do.
We've got articles, we've got some actual academy guidelines.
We even have...
We even have advice from a coach who's been out there and done it all.
Yeah, so are you ready to see what the experts say?
Let's do it.
Okay, so one thing that really jumped out at me is this Canadian Elite Academy.
Oh, yeah.
They have this whole system for grouping players, not just by skill level,
Right.
but also by age and developmental stage.
Yeah, I think that's a super important point that a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
You can be amazingly talented for your age,
Right.
but you still need to train and compete with others who are in a similar place
Yeah.
developmentally.
Makes sense.
So physically, mentally, I always think about it like weight classes in boxing.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes for a fairer and safer playing field.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
So they have this next-gen level for beginners, then they have basic, intermediate, advanced, and even an elite level that requires tryouts.
Wow.
Can you imagine, like, working your way up through that system with your friends?
That'd be incredible.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
But one of our sources talks about this idea of the internet brat.
Oh.
And they basically argue that kids today may be starting out with less natural athleticism
Interesting.
because they're spending less time in diverse physical activities.
No,
So
no.
more screen time, less free play outdoors.
That makes you wonder.
It does. It makes you think, are you and your friends getting enough movement variety
Right.
to build that solid foundation for volleyball?
Absolutely.
It's not just about being good at the sport itself. It's about developing that overall athleticism.
It is. It's about building that base.
Yeah.
And that's where coaching becomes so essential.
Yes.
We have some really great insights in our research from a coach who built his own elite academy.
Cool.
And he's really passionate about addressing this everyone gets a trophy mentality, which he believes can actually hinder growth and development in young athletes.
I mean, he sounds intense, but he's kind of got a point.
He does, right?
Learning how to cope with setbacks, learning how to push past your comfort zone.
It's huge.
It's huge for any athlete.
It's resilience.
It is. It's like that resilience you can take with you anywhere.
It translates to all areas of life.
For sure.
Yeah, and he really stresses how vital coaches are in this process.
Right.
You know, they're not just teaching skills.
Yeah.
They're shaping mindsets, instilling teamwork, helping young athletes develop that grit and determination
Yeah.
that are so essential for success.
So important.
Yeah, both on and off the court.
He actually uses this phrase. He says that coaches are teammates with each other,
I love that.
which I thought was a really interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is.
And they have all these policies about non-interference and respecting the chain of command.
Right.
It sounds like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and I think that kind of structured environment can be so beneficial,
Yeah,
especially for young athletes who are serious
for sure.
about taking their skills to the next level.
Totally. But I think the point he makes about finding the right coach,
Yes.
one who aligns with your values and goals,
Could agree more.
is absolutely crucial.
Yes.
This coach also really emphasizes the importance of balance.
Yes.
He talks about how these young athletes, they have to juggle school,
Right.
a social life,
Of course.
and their sport,
It's a lot.
which is a lot to manage.
It's a whole other level of teamwork.
It is. It really is.
Beyond the court, even.
Yeah, and this is where things can get kind of tricky,
Yes.
especially when it comes to playing with friends.
Right. Are you all on the same page?
Right. Are you all willing to make those sacrifices?
Yeah.
Are you all willing to put in the time and effort required to train and compete at a high level?
It's those big questions.
It is. It's not just about talent.
Right.
It's about shared commitment time management.
Right.
And honestly, how your friend group handles pressure as a team.
Oh, yeah, because competitive sports can get pretty intense.
Oh, yeah. And this coach, he has a lot to say about pressure.
Oh, does he?
He does.
What does he say?
He believes that learning to handle pressure gracefully is one of the most valuable lessons young athletes can learn.
I like that.
And he's got some pretty unique methods for teaching those lessons.
Oh, yeah? Tell me more.
Okay, so he tells this story about a game where he actually kicked out all the spectators because they were being so disruptive
Wow.
and they were creating a negative atmosphere.
I love it. Talk about taking a stand
Right.
for sportsmanship.
I bet those parents were surprised.
I bet they were.
But it really underscores a key point.
What's that?
The success of a young athlete isn't solely on their shoulders.
Right. It takes a village.
It's this whole ecosystem of support.
Yeah.
From coaches to parents to teammates, that all plays a role.
For sure. And within that ecosystem, open communication is paramount.
Yes, communication is so important.
We've got this great anecdote about a coach who completely changed his coaching style.
Really?
Because he realized that he was the one getting the most practice during drills, not his players.
That is so funny.
I know, right? It's so insightful, though.
It is.
It shows that even really experienced coaches
Right.
need to constantly be reflecting and adjusting
Totally.
to make sure they're really maximizing that learning experience for their athletes.
Absolutely. And this coach, he's a big advocate for player-to-player communication as well.
Oh, interesting.
He has this whole system where he gradually allows more peer coaching
I like that.
as the players mature and learn to give each other constructive feedback.
That's a fantastic approach.
It fosters this sense of ownership and accountability
Right?
among the players, and it creates a space where they can learn from each other.
Right. Not just from the coach.
And honestly, isn't that how a lot of learning happens?
That's how we learn.
We learn by observing.
And by teaching each other.
Exactly. And this coach takes it even a step further.
Oh, really?
He actually encourages his players to keep journals
Wow.
where they write down not just like their game stats, but also their feelings about wins and losses, their relationships with their teammates, even how they feel about the coaching they're getting.
It's like a direct line of communication to their inner coach.
It is, and it allows them to process their experiences in a more reflective way.
Yeah, I love that he encourages that kind of introspection.
Me too.
It shows that he recognizes that these athletes, they're more than just bodies on the court.
Right.
They have emotions, thoughts, perspectives that need to be acknowledged.
Yeah, especially at this age.
Yeah.
It's about holistic development,
It is.
not just technical skills.
Right, and that's something I think a lot of coaches are starting to understand.
Okay, but speaking of technical skills, there's one thing this coach is adamant about:
Okay, what's that?
ankle braces.
Oh, yeah?
He tells a story about a really bad ankle injury he got when he was younger.
Ouch.
And now he swears by active ankle braces for any serious player.
I'm not surprised ankle injuries are so common in volleyball.
They are.
And prevention is always better than treatment.
And he specifically mentions that active ankle braces,
Yeah.
they help support the ankle,
Right.
but without weakening those crucial muscles,
Which is so important.
which is so important for long-term athletic development.
Yes, it's not about creating dependence.
It's not.
It's about supporting those muscles so they can stay strong and healthy.
Exactly. And this brings up another important point:
What's that?
safety and ethical considerations in youth sports.
Right?
One of our sources goes really in-depth about safe sport policies
Yes.
and the importance of creating open and observable environments.
So important.
It's all about preventing abuse and misconduct
Yeah.
and ensuring that all interactions between coaches and athletes are appropriate and transparent.
Absolutely. They even stress that closed-door meetings should only happen if there's a second adult present.
Right?
It's about creating a culture of safety and accountability.
It is at every level.
Yes, and they provide tons of resources for reporting concerns
Yeah.
and promoting ethical behavior in youth sports.
Which is so valuable.
Incredibly valuable.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But you want to know if it's realistic to play competitive volleyball and stay on a team with your friends.
That's right. Let's recap what we've learned and see how it applies to your situation.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So you want to know if you can play competitive volleyball and still stay on a team with your friends?
Yeah.
It's a question a lot of young athletes grapple with.
Yeah.
And I think the answer, as with most things in life, is it's nuanced.
It's not a simple yes or no.
Right.
We've seen how much goes into volleyball success. It's like individual skill developmental readiness,
Yes.
the right coaching commitment to training,
It's a lot to juggle.
and even those social dynamics of a team.
It is.
It's a lot to juggle.
It really is.
So if we connect all of this back to your situation,
Yeah.
I think a few key questions emerge.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, how do your skill levels as a friend group actually compare?
Right. Are you all at a similar stage in your volleyball journey?
Right.
Or are there some significant differences in experience and ability?
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
And remember that Canadian Elite Academy model we talked about?
Yeah.
They group players by both age and skill for a reason.
Right.
If there's a wide gap within your friend group,
Yeah.
it might be tough to find a team that's a good fit for everyone.
And that's where compromise might have to come into play.
Right.
Are you and your friends willing to maybe play on different teams?
Yeah.
that align with your individual skill levels,
Right.
but still support each other as friends off the court.
Yeah. Right. Or would that defeat the whole purpose for you?
Exactly.
It's about figuring out what's most important to you.
Yes.
Is it playing at the highest level possible, even if it means being on different teams?
Right.
Or is it prioritizing that shared experience with your friends, even if it means playing at a slightly lower level?
Right. There's no right or wrong answer.
No.
Just different paths.
And this leads to the next question. How dedicated are you all to training?
Yeah, remember, competitive volleyball is a lifestyle.
It is.
Are you and your friends willing to put in the time, the effort, the discipline
Right.
that's required to really improve?
Because even with natural talent,
Yeah.
consistent training is what separates the good players from the great players.
It really is. And if your friend group has different levels of commitment,
Yeah,
that can create tension and imbalance within the team dynamic.
totally. And speaking of team dynamics, how does your group handle pressure?
Oh, that's a good one.
Competitive sports can be stressful.
They can-
Are you the type of friends who lift each other up and stay positive?
Yeah.
Even when things get tough?
Right.
Or do disagreements and negativity kind of tend to take over?
Because how you handle pressure as a team
Yeah.
is just as important as individual skill.
Remember that coach who talked about the importance of a positive mindset
Yes.
and learning from mistakes?
Absolutely.
That applies tenfold when you're playing with your friends.
It really does.
Here's another thing to consider. What are your goals for volleyball? Are you all aiming for college scholarships or professional play?
Right.
Or is it more about having fun and enjoying the sport together?
Because those different aspirations can also influence team dynamics and decision-making.
It's true if some of you are laser focused on reaching those elite levels,
Yeah.
while others are more about the social aspect.
Right.
It can create friction
It can.
and potentially even hurt the team's overall performance.
And that's where honest and open communication is absolutely essential.
Yes, talk it out.
You and your friends need to have those tough conversations
Right.
about your expectations, your goals, your commitment levels
Yeah.
before you even step onto the court together.
That's like a pregame strategy session.
It is.
But for your friendship,
I love that.
lay it all out on the table.
Yeah.
What are you willing to compromise on?
Right.
Where are your non-negotiables?
And most importantly, are you all in this together for the right reasons?
Because ultimately, the most successful teams are built on a foundation of shared values,
Yes.
trust, and mutual respect.
Absolutely. And those things are even more important when you're playing with friends.
It's about finding that sweet spot where individual ambition and friendship
Yes.
can coexist and even amplify each other.
I love that.
It's not always easy,
No, it's not.
but it's definitely possible.
It is. And remember, even if you and your friends end up on different teams,
Yeah.
you can still support each other's journeys
Yeah.
and celebrate each other's successes.
Right. Friendship doesn't have to end at the edge of the volleyball court.
That's such a good point.
It's about fostering that sense of community
Yes.
and shared passion for the sport,
I love that.
even if you're not all playing on the same team.
Exactly. But let's shift gears for a moment.
Okay.
Talk about the practical side of things.
All right.
Okay, we've established that it's possible
Yes.
to play competitive volleyball with your friends.
Right.
But how do you actually make it happen? Where do you even begin?
Right. It's great to have these conversations and dream big.
Yeah.
But at some point, you need to take action.
You do.
Where do you even start looking for teams?
Well, that's where a little research comes in handy.
Okay.
Start by exploring your local options.
Right.
Are there volleyball clubs or leagues
Yeah.
that cater to different skill levels?
Mm-hmm.
Check out community centers, schools, even online resources.
Good idea.
See what programs are available in your area and what their requirements are.
Okay.
Some might have tryouts, while others might be more open enrollment.
Makes sense.
And don't forget to factor in coaching styles.
Oh, right. We talked about how important that is.
Yeah.
To find a coach who aligns with your group's personality and goals.
Exactly. Do you want someone who's super intense and focused on pushing you to your limits?
Right.
Or do you want someone who's more nurturing and emphasizes the fun aspect of the sport?
Right. There's a whole spectrum of coaching styles out there.
There is.
It's about finding one that resonates with your group
Yes.
and creates a positive learning environment.
And this is where talking to other players and parents can be really helpful.
Oh, good idea.
Get their insights and recommendations
Yeah.
based on their experiences.
Word of mouth is definitely a valuable tool.
It is.
It's like getting the inside scoop
Yes.
on the different programs and coaches in your area.
Exactly. And once you've narrowed down your options,
Okay.
it's time to have that honest conversation with your friends.
All right.
Present your findings.
Yeah.
Discuss the pros and cons of each program.
Right.
And see if you can reach a consensus on a team that feels like a good fit for everyone.
Again, it's about compromise.
It is.
And finding that balance between individual aspirations and the shared experience of playing together.
And hey, even if you end up on different teams initially,
right,
you can still train together.
Yeah.
Support each other's progress.
Totally.
And maybe even end up playing together down the road.
Right.
On a team that really values those individual skills that you've been developing.
Absolutely. It's about creating that ecosystem of support that we talked about earlier.
Yes. And here's another crucial tip.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to advocate for yourselves.
Oh, that's a good one.
If you're passionate about playing together, talk to the coaches, the league organizers, even your parents.
Yeah.
Explain your situation and see if there's any flexibility in the system.
You never know what's possible until you ask.
You don't.
Sometimes a little bit of creative problem solving can go a long way.
It can.
And remember, even if you face setbacks, don't give up on your dream.
That's right.
Keep training, keep improving, and keep those lines of communication open with your friends.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
It's about perseverance, adaptability.
Yeah.
And that unwavering belief in the power of teamwork, both on and off the court.
So feeling empowered, ready to take action?
I hope so.
I think it's time to move on to our final thoughts and see what other nuggets of wisdom we can glean from these sources.
Okay.
To help you make your volleyball dreams a reality. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the compromises, all the practical stuff. But what if we flipped the script and got a little strategic?
Okay, I like where this is going.
What if instead of trying to fit everyone into the same role on the same team, you and your friends each focused on becoming really good at a different aspect of volleyball?
Oh, that's a fascinating approach.
Right.
Instead of competing for the same spots, you're actually complementing each other's strengths.
Right.
It's like building this well-rounded team from within your friend group.
I love that. So let's say one friend becomes an absolute serving ace, just racking up those points right off the bat.
Okay.
Another friend could be that defensive wall, digging up every single spike that comes their way.
Love it.
Someone else could be the setter, the mastermind who orchestrates all the plays and sets up those killer hits.
Yes. And then you have your powerhouse hitter.
Right.
The one who finishes those plays and puts those perfectly set balls away for points.
Right.
Suddenly you've got this dynamic team built on individual strengths.
Yes.
And that pre-existing friendship bond.
It's like taking that natural camaraderie you already have.
Yeah.
And turning it into a strategic advantage.
Exactly. And this approach has some really cool benefits.
Like what?
Well, first, it takes some of the pressure off trying to all be good at the same thing.
Right.
You can each focus on honing those specific skills that come most naturally to you.
It's like embracing your individual superpowers.
Yeah.
And then figuring out how they all work together to create this unstoppable force.
And that specialization can actually make you even more valuable as a team.
How so?
Well, imagine the synergy when you're all playing at the top of your game in these different roles.
Right.
It's like each of you becomes this crucial piece of the puzzle.
And the cool thing is, this approach can still work.
Yeah.
Even if you end up on different teams initially.
Right.
You can still train together, support each other's progress, and maybe even end up playing together down the road.
Yes.
On a team that truly values those specialized skills.
Absolutely. It's about having that long-term vision.
It is.
And understanding that the path to volleyball success isn't always a straight line.
Right.
Sometimes involves detours, individual growth spurts, and then coming together as a team with even greater strength and understanding.
And let's not forget the mental and emotional benefits of this approach.
Oh, yeah, totally.
When you're allowed to focus on your strengths and pursue those aspects of the sport that really light you up.
Yes.
It brings a whole new level of joy to the game.
It fosters a sense of ownership confidence.
Yeah.
And that pure enjoyment of the process.
Right.
Which ultimately translates to better performance and a more positive team dynamic overall.
So instead of asking, can we all be good at everything?
Right.
Maybe the question becomes, what if we each became amazing at one thing?
I love that shift in perspective.
Right.
It's about celebrating those individual talents.
Yeah.
And figuring out how they fit into the larger picture.
It's like a puzzle, right?
It is.
You have all these unique pieces, and when you put them together in the right way, you create something truly extraordinary.
And who knows, maybe the specialization Could even lead you to discover hidden talents you never knew you had.
Right.
Maybe you thought you were destined to be a hitter, but then you fall in love with the strategic brilliance of setting.
It's all about keeping an open mind and being willing to explore different possibilities.
It is.
And hey, even if you decide to stick with your initial volleyball aspirations, this focus on individual strengths can still make you a more well-rounded and valuable player.
It can, because understanding the nuances of each role on the court
Right.
makes you a better teammate, more strategic player, and just a more adaptable athlete overall.
Yeah, you develop a deeper appreciation for the game as a whole.
You do.
It's like that saying the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
I love that.
You need those individual strengths working together
Yes.
to create something truly powerful.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that goes way beyond the volleyball court.
It does.
It applies to teamwork in any context, in school, in the workplace, in life in general.
So there you have it, your deep dive into the world of youth athletics, friendship, and chasing those volleyball dreams.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We've explored the challenges, the possibilities,
Yes.
and even some strategic approaches
We did.
to help you navigate this exciting journey.
Yeah.
The key takeaway, keep an open mind, communicate honestly with your friends,
Yeah.
and never underestimate the power of individual growth within a team context.
And remember, the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
So true.
Enjoy the process, support each other, and who knows, maybe one day we'll see you and your friends on that elite academy court, each playing a crucial role in a volleyball powerhouse built on friendship and a shared passion for the game.